Hi, my name is Wendy Hayden and I'm with Natural Constipation Solutions, and today we're going to talk about megacolon and what that means for your child. So there are two different types of megacolon. One is congenital, and that's the type that my son has. And what that means is that during the first trimester of pregnancy, the nerves did not travel down the intestines all the way through to the colon. And so if your child has congenital megacolon, you're going to see that they have had constipation issues from birth, and that things like being dairy free when they were an infant don't really make a difference. So my son, I breastfed him, I was dairy free, so he was not getting any dairy through my milk. It didn't seem to matter what we did. He was having gas, he was having pain, he was having problems that were really difficult from when he was first born. And what ends up happening is you get chronic constipation, and it ends up taking the colon and it stretches it out in the large intestines, and they get stretched out. And so even if you don't have congenital megacolon, you can still develop megacolon if you've got chronic constipation, because the intestines will get filled with stool, and the bowels will all get filled with stool. And over time, being filled all the time with stool, they end up getting stretched out and floppy, and then they're not able to do the peristalsis and push that stool through. And so it makes it kind of a problem that just keeps building on itself, because they're constipated and it stretches out the colon, and then the colon doesn't work as well, and then they get more constipated, and the longer the stool is in there, it gets more dried out, because all of the fluids get pulled out through the large intestines to make the stool solid, and the longer the stool is in there, the more liquid gets pulled out, and next thing you know, you've got this really hard ball of stool or a log of stool that is going up, sometimes inches into your child, and their belly can get popped out from it, and swollen looking. And it ends up being a horrible problem to try to work through this. So what's important with it is that you need to start by getting them cleaned out. So I have a video that I will link to on how to do a clean out for your child. And if this has been a chronic problem for a long time, it may take a lot to be able to get all of that stool out, because their intestines are going to be kind of floppy, they're not going to be working right, and they're not going to be pushing the stool through easily. So once you get them cleaned out, you're going to want to do some things to keep the stool from building back up again. So you don't want to just do a clean out and then go back to the way you were before. You need to keep them on a regimen that gets them going, and you want the stools to be very soft, almost to the point of diarrhea when you've got megacolon, because you need to keep their intestines from ever getting full again. So it may take having to do enemas in the beginning to get things moving again, if they've lost, because some of what happens is they don't feel the urge to go, whether it's congenital or because they've just had chronic constipation, because their body, all this gets all stretched out, the nerves aren't working right, and it doesn't send the signals to the brain up through the vagus nerve that's like, hey, we've got a colon full of stool and we need to evacuate it. It's just not sending those signals right. And so you need to work on things like try time, where you are making a regimen where you have, this is what we do, we have a meal and we go to the bathroom, and I've got a video on that you can find on my channel. And so you want to keep working on this to get the stools super soft, super easy to pass, and it's going to be a long process. It's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do this for a week and your child's going to be able to have normal bowel movements. It's going to take time for their megacolon to be able to shrink back down to normal size, for them to get feeling again when they have a bowel movement, that they need to have this bowel movement, that they're going to start feeling that pressure, and that it's a natural instinct for us to move our bowels. So they need to be able to feel that again. And until they do, you want to have a routine where they're not dependent on that feeling to be able to sit down and have a bowel movement. you may have to have some kind of a routine. Using like a castor oil pack will help, because the castor oil has renalic acid in it, and that helps the little muscles inside the intestines to move and squish the stool back down through the intestines. You might want to do, I make a magnesium cream, and you can do a massage on your child's stomach to help them move. You can take their knees and push them up to their chest and rock them back and forth and rock them this way, and that will all help to move the stool through when you're dealing with megacolon. The other thing that we had great success with was this Ion Gut Health, Ion Biome. It really helped with my son, and it seemed to me that he ended up feeling the urge once we got him on this. I think that it started as it healed his gut. It started to give him that feeling, that sensation again of when he needed to have a bowel movement, because he's not dealing with that the way he was when he was a baby. And this made a huge change for him when we were using this, and he's not taking it any longer, but it feels like it made a long-term improvement. And I've heard from other families who've had really good success with that with kids that have megacolon. So if your child is going through these things, it's often good to work with an integrative functional medicine doctor or a naturopath, because they are going to help you figure out if this is a problem. Often when you go to a pediatrician or a pediatric gastro, they will just give laxatives, and they'll tell you your child has megacolon, they're going to have to be, or Hirschsprung's, they're going to have to be on laxatives for life. But that hasn't been my experience, and I work with thousands of families over the past 7 or 8 years, and it hasn't been the experience that I've seen with those families either, that we have been able to get children who we were told were going to be on Miralax for life off of Miralax and healed their gut, worked on the cause of their constipation, shrunk down their colons again, and got them so they were having a daily bowel movement. So there is hope. You can do it. I hope you would join my Facebook group, Natural Constipation Solutions, on Facebook. I also have a book, What Your Doctor Didn't Tell You About Childhood Constipation. And that book will talk you through all of the steps you need to take to be able to work with your child's constipation and heal their gut and get them so they're having a daily bowel movement without interventions and laxatives. I hope this helped you, and if you have any more questions, please leave a comment down below and I will answer the question, or you can join the group, the Facebook group, and post your question in there and I will help you there. Thank you so much.